Look at any crowd on Earth and you will see something strange. One species, same bones, same blood, same basic brain, same ancient family tree, but skin that ranges from very dark brown to very pale pink. For thousands of years, humans explained that difference in the worst possible ways. They turned it into myths, then tribes, then empires, then race. They acted like skin color was proof that humans were separated into different kinds of people. But biology tells a very different story. Skin color was never proof that humans were separate. And it was never really about the labels people use today. It was about a problem every human body had to solve. A problem coming from the sky. The strange thing is that the same thing that kept humans alive was also trying to damage them. And over thousands of generations, your ancestors' bodies had to find a balance. Block too much of it, and you die one way. Let too much of it in, and you die another. So why did humans become different colors? The answer begins long before nations, borders, or races. It begins in Africa, with a small, exposed, sweating ape standing under a brutal sun. For most mammals, skin color is not the first line of defense. Fur is. Fur is shade. Fur is armor. Fur blocks sunlight before it ever touches the skin. But our ancestors did something dangerous. They lost most of it. Exactly when it happened is still debated. But the leading explanation is heat. A fur-covered animal overheats quickly when it runs in open sunlight. A mostly hairless animal that can sweat has a strange advantage. It can keep moving. It can walk for hours, run for hours, follow animals across hot open land while other predators have to stop and cool down. Sweat works best on bare skin. So early humans traded fur for cooling, but that trade created a new problem. Because once the fur was gone, the sky could touch the body directly. And near the equator, sunlight is not gentle. It carries ultraviolet radiation. UV light is powerful enough to burn skin, powerful enough to damage DNA, powerful enough to break down important molecules inside the body. One of those molecules is folate. Folate is a B vitamin your body needs to make cells, repair DNA, support healthy sperm, and support early pregnancy. If too much UV breaks down folate, reproduction becomes harder. And in evolution, reproduction is not a small detail. It is the test everything has to pass. A body can be strong, fast, smart, perfectly adapted in every other way. But if it cannot successfully leave descendants, evolution does not keep that design for long. So as early humans lived under intense tropical sunlight, natural selection favored bodies that could protect folate. That protection came from melanin. Melanin is the pigment that gives skin its color. But it is not just color, it is a biological shield. It absorbs and scatters ultraviolet radiation before that radiation can do too much damage. The more dark protective eumelanin your skin produces, the better protected you are under strong sunlight. This is why populations whose ancestors lived for long periods near the equator tend to have darker skin. Not because they are a different kind of human, because their ancestors lived under stronger UV. Dark skin was not cosmetic. It was survival technology. It was the first sunscreen. But then humans moved. Slowly, over tens of thousands of years, groups of Homo sapiens spread out of Africa. They crossed deserts, followed coastlines, moved through forests, reached cold plains, cloudy islands, mountains, and northern skies. And the farther some groups moved from the equator, the problem changed. The danger was no longer just too much sunlight. It was too little. More specifically, too little UVB. UVB is the part of sunlight your body uses to make vitamin D. And vitamin D is essential. Your body uses it to absorb calcium, build bones, support immunity, and maintain normal biological function. Without enough vitamin D, children can develop rickets, a disease where bones become soft and deformed. Pregnancy becomes riskier. Bones become weaker. Survival becomes harder. So now human skin faced the opposite problem. Dark skin was excellent under powerful tropical sunlight. But in places where the sun was weak for much of the year, too much melanin could block the limited UVB the body needed. So in many low UV environments, natural selection favored lighter skin. Less melanin meant more UVB could enter the skin. More UVB meant more vitamin D. More vitamin D meant stronger bones and better chances of survival. This is the part most people get wrong. Light skin did not evolve because cold places are cold. Cold does not bleach skin. Sunlight does. The real map is not temperature, it is ultraviolet radiation. That is why human skin color follows sunlight better than it follows heat. But the story is still not as simple as dark near the equator and light in the north. Because humans are messy, migration is messy, diet is messy, history is messy. Some Arctic populations, for example, did not become extremely pale even though they lived far north. Why? Because many of them traditionally ate diets rich in fish and marine mammals. Those foods contain vitamin D. If your food gives you vitamin D, your skin does not need to let in as much weak northern sunlight. So diet can change the pressure on skin color. That is why there is no perfect skin color chart. There are patterns, but not clean boxes. And this is where the idea of race starts to fall apart. Because skin color changes gradually across geography. It does not divide humans into neat biological categories. There is no sharp line where one kind of human ends and another begins. There are just populations whose ancestors adapted to different amounts of sunlight, mixed with other populations, moved again, and adapted again. If you walked from Central Africa northward thousands of years ago, you would not cross a magic border where humans suddenly changed. You would see gradual shifts, different bodies shaped by sunlight, diet, migration, and chance. Human variation is real, but the boxes people built around it are mostly cultural. Skin color became one of the most visible human differences, so societies gave it meaning. Then they gave it hierarchy, then they gave it violence. But evolution never said any of that. Evolution was solving a chemistry problem. How do you block enough sunlight to protect folate, but allow enough sunlight to make vitamin D? That is the whole puzzle. Too much UV, and you need more melanin. Too little UV, and too much melanin can become a problem. Human skin color is the compromise, a moving balance between protection and production, between blocking the sun and using it. And the strangest part is that this balance evolved more than once. Lighter skin in Europe and lighter skin in parts of East Asia did not appear through exactly the same genetic changes. Evolution found similar solutions using different tools. That means there was no single moment when humans became white. No single moment when humans became black. Those are modern words for a much older, slower process. The first Homo sapiens were almost certainly dark-skinned compared with many people alive today because our species evolved in Africa under strong ultraviolet radiation. But even that has to be said carefully. They were not black in the modern social sense. They were ancient humans with skin adapted to strong sunlight. The categories came later, much later. The biology came first. Imagine the sun as a problem with two dangers. If it gets too deep into your skin, it can damage folate and DNA. If it does not get in enough, you cannot make enough vitamin D. Melanin is the dial. Turn it up where UV is brutal. Turn it down where UV is weak. Not because one skin color is better, because different environments ask different things from the body. That is why no human skin color is the original perfect version. Every shade is a solution. Dark skin is not primitive. Light skin is not advanced. Brown skin is not halfway finished. They are all records of survival. But then the modern world broke the old rules. Today, people move across the planet in hours. A person whose ancestors adapted to weak northern sunlight can live under harsh equatorial sun. A person whose ancestors adapted to strong tropical UV can live in a cloudy northern city. Your skin still carries the story of old sunlight, but your life may happen under a completely different sky. Our bodies were shaped by places. Our lives are no longer stuck in those places. And maybe that is the most important part of the story. Skin color feels permanent. It feels like identity, family, history, something you are born with and carry everywhere. And it is. But it is also evidence of movement. Your skin is not just the color of your body. It is the shadow of ancient migrations. It is the trace of deserts crossed, coastlines followed, winters survived, and sunlight absorbed by people whose names are gone. People who never knew they were shaping the face of humanity. They were just trying to live long enough to have children. And over thousands of generations, the sun wrote itself into their skin. So why did humans become different colors? Because we left one place and tried to survive in many. Because the same star that gave us life also threatened to damage us. Because evolution had to solve two opposite problems at the same time. Protect the body from sunlight, and let sunlight in. That is all skin color is. Not a ranking, not a border, not proof that humans are separate. It is proof that humans are one species flexible enough to survive almost anywhere. A species that began under the African sun, spread across the planet, and carried the memory of those skies on its skin. Every shade is a survival story. Every color is a map. And every human alive today is walking around with a little piece of ancient sunlight written on their body. Your body is carrying a much older story than you think. And that story did not end in the past. If you want more videos like this, subscribe now. There's a lot more buried in being human.